I want to talk about the experiment, but I also want to ask you, if you look back at your life kind of in the 50s and 60s, what were the questions you were asking yourself that led you up to doing, this famous experiment at Stanford?
Well, I was always looking at, why people did evil. So instead of focusing only on the kids who gave in or not, what were these guys like who corrupted kids? And then again, I grew up in the Second World War. If I was in Germany, would I have become a Hitler Youth? When you look at these things, it was so repulsive. What they did to Jews. Now, again, I didn't mention earlier, of course, there were always Jewish kids, and we envied them because they were always the smartest. Well, they really weren't always the smartest. They simply worked hard. Their parents insisted that they do the homework.
That was a value for them.
It was a value for them, and it was not a value for Irish, for Italian, for Armenian. Well, it was for Armenians. So again, but in this neighborhood, we had Armenian friends, Jewish friends, black. It was really our gang, one or two of each.
Okay.
Yes. So again, I was just curious about, people whose career was doing bad things, and curious about this guy Hitler. How could he see the world in this distorted way? But then, more than that, how could he create a system which got so many people not only to believe in him, but be willing to do whatever he said? He said, Jews are inferior, Jews are inferior. Jews have to be segregated. Jews have to be sent to concentration camps. Jews have to be cremated. And I'm saying, and you see these pictures on the news of kids like me, marching in parades with, looking like Hitler, being admired.
Right.
The Hitler Jungen, yeah.
And did this cause you to investigate this kind of like electric shock test? I mean, this was before your Stanford Prison Experiment.
No, see, what led me to do first is to say, how could it be that someone like me could knowingly harm somebody who was also something like me? And so I first did research on what I call de-individuation. What happens when you take away somebody's identity? Well, this is what being in the military is. You look at a military parade, everybody is identical. And in America, soldiers are called GI. GI means government issue. You're not even a person. When you're there, you are the issue of the government. So I did research where I was teaching at New York University, and I had students in my class. All students had to be part of 3 or 4 experiments as part of the course. And so I had women come to my laboratory in groups of 4 at a time, and we said, we're interested in how people perform under stress. When you're stressed, does it reduce your creativity? So here's 4 girls. I said, so you're going to meet 2 women, other students who are trying to be creative under stress. Your job, stress them, okay? How are you going to stress them? You're going to give them electric shock, meaning when at various times, randomly, you're going to press a button, and you can hold your finger down as long as you want, up to 5 seconds, and she and I will be behind a screen, and she's going to try to ignore the shock, and I'm going to ask her questions about creativity. And the key is for half of this participants, I put them in hoods, literally like Ku Klux Klan hoods with little eye things, and we took away their names. He said, "You're 1, 2, 3, 4."
Okay.
And
so
then
you were always a little crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
and then we compared them to other women who we made to feel special. They wore name tags, Marcella Weinstein, Jeannie Myers, and so the question is, everything is the same. You're going to give electric shock to somebody trying to be creative. Of course, the women behind the screen with me were models. They pretended to be shocked. And what happened was simply where we took away your identity and put you in a position where you were permitted to harm someone, they gave twice as much shock. They held their finger down twice as long, and they did it for the entire 10 minutes. And so, and where they were, and it was twice as much as women who were made to feel special. So again, it makes you think about the Mardi Gras, situations under which people change their identity. And when you do, you now can begin to do things you never could think of before. So, but it's also the situation. So in the Mardi Gras, it's having fun. So people get drunk. You're more likely to have random sex. But again, in military, in the war, I put you in a uniform. It's like just being put in a hood, or I put you in Ku Klux Klan. I cover your identity, and now you can do things you would never imagine doing under normal circumstances.